Hi everyone, it's Trishann Williams with my brother James.
You looked at me like you forgot my name for a second.
Well, it's been 30 seconds since we did the last one. Sometimes I just go blank.
It gets too much. Hello.
We're gonna let you know what we're reading now and give you kind of an update on where we're at. We're at Mimi's house, sitting outside in the beautiful sunshine. We just had lunch. Here she comes.
Hi, Mimi.
Oh, hi. All right, James, what have you been reading here lately?
Currently, I'm reading something called The Ministry of Time, and it is a time travel book. It takes place in the UK, present day. A secret government program has invented time travel, but they're not sure if it's actually safe for humans, so they end up going back in time, finding historical figures that they know who have died. Who died naturally. They were already dead before. Or right,
that's kind of genius.
They kind of pluck them out and bring them back. And they're like, one was a soldier from World War I on the front lines right before he got blown up by a grenade. They pulled him out. And another one was off a lost Arctic expedition. They pulled him out as they're about to all starve to death. And four other people. And they have these handlers that are trying to get them through modern society. And it's a pretty hokey premise, but it's interesting how the author, my apologies, I wish I remembered the author's name, but it's interesting how the author focuses a lot on the prejudice of the day. Like the person from 1790, is like, women can't, I can't accept, you can't pay for this, you're a woman, you can't do that. And
that's funny.
The 1870s is like, he keeps using, the N-word because it was what was accepted back then, and you can't do that in this day and age,
funny.
and all of this. And so
So do they know they've time traveled?
They know they've time traveled. Yeah, they and the whole purpose is to see the effects of time travel.
Right.
So like we're not trying to just integrate them into society. We want to see if they remain mentally stable, if time travel is actually viable
really
for back and forth. So yeah, it's an interesting premise. Any time travel book's going to have the same premise like that. The writing is just really good on it. So I'm enjoying it so far. I'm 60 some odd pages into it. So that's what I'm reading right now. Ministry of Time.
Okay.
All
right. Listen, I just took everybody on a long journey, so that's a lot of what I was reading. I also just finished a book that our dad recommended that I can't talk about because we're going to do a review this weekend when he comes in town, but I spent a lot of time trying to read that one.
Well, you can't get it anymore, so Dad had to give his copy to Trish.
And then
she
I just gave it to
me
him,
today.
so.
I read the first 5 pages of it. It's a Indian reservation mystery.
Yeah.
And already 5 pages that I just read in the car, I can see all the stereotypes, and they're all drunk, and they're.
Well, I mean, it's fine. We'll get to it.
But we'll see how it goes. We'll see.
So I just finished reading that, but I did read a couple of books on my spring break that didn't make it into my journey, that were separate from my journey, or just one anyway. The new Danielle Steele book came out.
Okay.
It's called Far From Home. She does a couple of things, not a couple of things. She does a lot of things well. But one of the things that I think that she does really well is, in my opinion, and this is so different from historical fiction, right? But when she does a good World War II story, because she'll do it, this is an upper crust, this is a German family that leaves Berlin. Nothing bad happens to them. I mean, she doesn't have to leave. She's not half Jewish, or she's not anything. She's just, she gets caught outside of Berlin, and she has to try to make her way back. And
I probably would like that.
It's really good. I mean, it's fiction, 100%, but it's back. I know I had a glitch with her last book that came out, and this one I liked the whole time.
I enjoyed.
Which you enjoyed, but this one I liked the whole time. I liked the characters. I liked the story. It moved really quickly.
The writing?
The dialogue started early on. It was the Danielle Steele that I know and love. So I really liked it. Her books have gotten shorter. That's one of the things I thought was interesting when I went back and I was reading Valley of the Dolls and some of the older books from the 60s and 70s. They were much longer. Today's books feel much shorter. And you can feel it. I mean, I've been able to feel it, but like just that contrast of going back and forth between reading a, whatever, a 500-page book and a 200-page book it's just really different.
Well, and there's a reason why, Alexandre Dumas, whose 800-page Three Musketeers is a classic.
Yeah.
Because it's not mass-produced. I'm not saying good, bad for authors. There's a wasp nest or a hornet nest in there.
Oh, don't open
and
it.
I'm just
Is it making you nervous?
I'm highly allergic, just so you know.
Yeah.
But it's okay. There's just a difference. Today, people are really constantly, it's rare for an author to go 2 years without a book.
Yeah.
Unless you're George R. R. Martin or Patrick Rothfuss.
A lot of people don't, yeah.
Dan Brown hasn't written one in however long.
Right.
But, but most of the authors, to maintain relevance, are putting out books constantly. Whereas I think that in the earlier days, that's you wrote it to be a classic kind of thing. You wrote it. There wasn't that much competition out there, so you're writing it from your heart and really trying to. Again, it sounds like I'm disparaging today. I'm not.
It's just different.
It's just a difference.
I just noticed that difference on spring break because I kind of went through that gamut, and I thought it was interesting that Jacqueline Suzanne was talking about how when she wrote Valley of the Dolls, which is really long, she had to cut like 25% of the book from the first manuscript she turned in. It was that much longer, and really not a whole lot happens in it. So I'm like, okay.
Well, who was Stephen King? And Stephen, if you're ever watching this, and I'm wrong, sorry, but
call me,
and I'll correct. I'll edit this. He wrote The Stand, and when he originally wrote it, it was like this thick, and they had to cut a whole bunch of it just to make it a viable product. And then 25 years goes by and you re-release all the actual text, and I've read both versions of it, and it's interesting. The stuff that was included were all separate little stories, separate characters that didn't have an importance to the main overall theme. They were still very interesting, but I could see why those were able to be cut.
Yeah.
And I can also see why he went back and included it all into it again too. So
who was it that? Okay, here's a test for you. Who was it that wrote that book that I really liked?
It's blue.
It was somebody like Stephen King, but it wasn't Stephen King. It was somebody you got me hooked on. The one that I'm.
Yeah, Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz, and where he made a clause where you don't cut his stuff out. Is that him? That's him.
100%.
Yeah.
100. Well, it's not at that point in time. That was the deal.
But it was only like his second book,
no, it was
right?
His fourth.
Oh, it was his fourth.
Yeah, it was his fourth.
You know what?
He was like, I'm tired of the editors, tired of people cutting my stuff up. I'm going solo. And when I do sell the book to a publisher, that's in the contract. This is it.
I've had 3
He doesn't do that anymore.
I've had 3 books published, and so my 4th book, you can do whatever you want to. If you want to buy it, you can do whatever you want.
People, there's interest in your book. There's interest. I always make the mistake when, where are we, 8 minutes? I always make the mistake of caving in and saying, yeah, this is my sister and it's her book. And then people are like, oh, and then I think they choose not to buy it because they're like, well, he was just talking sympathy.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I need to stop doing that. So here's this book. It's great. Get it.
Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Okay.
I was gonna say something else too. You reminded me of something. I can't remember.
All right.
But
what are you gonna read next?
So I am gonna read the Navajo.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to read that one. You gotta power through that too. Just skip.
And I'll just power. It looks like it's an easy.
You
read.
can review it now.
It looks like
it's exactly what you think it's going to be.
The pawn shop owner's dead apparently.
He's dead.
But and that's where the mystery is. But I've read quite a few books recently that I just wasn't into at the time. It's kind of like you sit down, you start to watch a movie, and it's not bad. I'm just not into it right now. So there were a couple. I did finish Our Infinite Fates. I think I talked about it last time. About the
I didn't
two
like that
souls
one.
who were tethered together.
Did it end up being all right?
It got a little out there. Like they
jump the shark.
No, they go to the underworld and confront the evil queen, who's the one who put the curse on them to begin with. So so it got a little bit. It was fine. Yeah, how else are you going to do it? Exactly. Right. There was no other way to do that.
Yeah.
And then I read Ben Bova. This was finished a couple days ago. Ben Bova, hard sci-fi book about first contact on another planet. Again, it wasn't bad. I got like 120 pages into it, and I just sort of stopped reading it.
Wow.
I'm not entirely sure why. I'll eventually go back to it, but
Okay.
the aliens they discovered decided that it was easier for them to recreate a new Earth and to have themselves appear as humans and talk and speak English and all that. So right now, so when I left, it was still humans talking to humans,
Okay.
even though they're like, well, we're aliens and we don't look like this, we don't talk like this, but it's easier for us to do this.
Got it.
So
That's weird. I would never read that.
But yeah,
All right.
that's it. That's all I got. What about you?
I have been downloading all the beach reads that are coming. They're not gonna release.
The Emily Henry's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Emily Henry, Abby Jimenez has one. Susan Mallory has one coming out. So all that they're on pre-order. So I've got those pre-orders stacking up to dig into when it gets to be a little bit warm. I mean, it's been 90 plus degrees here, so I feel like summer is.
Oh yeah, this is the one that I'm supposed to read next. The Dagger and the Flame. It's another YA fantasy book. Enemies to lovers, similar vibe to Six of Crows.
You need to branch out a
But
little
I
bit.
might also be thinking that just because the voice actor is the same, it's okay.
All right.
Let's see, but that's what was maybe I should read another good one. The last nonfiction book I read was called The Last Days of the Dinosaurs, and it was literally
The last days.
here's what the dinosaurs have been doing until the meteor hits,
Oh.
and so it was fun. It was a good one.
Oh, I am currently right now reading The Phantom of Fifth Avenue, which is that nonfiction book that I was reading.
Okay.
I was trying to remember what I'm reading right now, so I'm about halfway through that one. And again, it's the same story. It's the story I was just talking about with Empty Mansions, and I bought.
I think that's fascinating.
It's such an interesting story, and I actually bought a book that's out of print about the same subject on eBay. So I'm gonna get a hard copy. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Now you did read the Anderson Coopers, the Astors,
Yeah,
the Vanderbilts.
I love all those.
Nonfiction. Yeah. So I might have to dive into.
I find those things
dive
interesting.
into those and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay, if
All
you've
right.
made it this far, let us know if there's any recommendations that you'd like in the comments
in the
below.
comments. Yeah,
And
that's it for us for right now.
we'll see you next time.
All right.
Say
Sounds
bye,
good.
Mimi.
Say bye.
Bye.
There she is. Bye-bye.